Meet Rob Nelson, talk show host.
Because you got the 70s thing going there. I got someone's underwear.
Robert Kennedy, thanks for taking a minute. Simple question.
Tucker, it's good to see you. Listen,
You're a Bitcoin maximalist. You're Bitcoin forever.
I hate this central bank digital currency.
hey, I don't have all the answers, but together, I know we can find them.
Hey everybody, welcome to Rob Nelson Live. Thanks for joining me on a Wednesday night. Legends live forever, but not forever if we get wiped out, if the planet gets extinguished. There is a comet, 20 kilometers in diameter. That's wide. I don't know, it's like 10 miles wide or whatever. It's like Manhattan. It's a comet the size of Manhattan coming for Earth. It's twice as big as the comet that hit the Earth like 60 million years ago and wiped out the dinosaurs. We all know that story. So there's a British astronomer who's tracking it, very well known, highly credentialed. So he's not a conspiracy theorist. He's not wearing tinfoil titties like Talk to Me Taylor or tinfoil hat like me, who said, there is not enough rocky material in the interstellar space to deliver a rock this size to our solar system more than once every 10,000 years. So, this thing coming at us is not going to necessarily hit us. It's just this thing coming at us is bigger than anything we've seen in. We couldn't see it. The amount of mass out there it could accumulate to put on it once in 10,000 years. However, we saw one in the last 10 years. Pretty big. And this one's 200 times bigger. So the question he asked is it actually targeting our interstellar system? And here was his reasoning. And this is not a kooky conspiracy guy. He's like, you listen to him, it's like he's a total wonk. He's a total techie looking at the stars and, wherever he's at, Oxford, wherever. It's aligned with our planets and around the sun. Within the chances of it coming in, aligning with our planets and around the sun, he said, is 1 in 500. You're like, oh, well, yeah, 1 in 500, that's not bad. That could happen. Yeah, 1 in 500. It's not a long shot. Not crazy. But get this. It's then going to pass near Mars, then the sun, then Venus and Jupiter, all within their orbits. Coming into our solar system, in our interstellar system, 1 in 500. Well, that could happen. Accumulating all the mass it would need to do it, it's, like I said, 10 miles wide, 1 in 10,000 years. Let's ignore the fact that in the last decade, there was another one that did it too, that was not as big, but still big. So the 1 in 500, okay. But passing Mars, the sun, Venus, and Jupiter, all within their orbits, 1 in 20,000 chances. 1 in 20,000 that it would do that. And what he said was, at some point, you got to consider that this isn't accidental. It's not random. It's not just, oh, it happened to. Maybe he's like, maybe it's alien technology intending to come into our interstellar space, get near the sun, get near Mars, get near Venus, get near Jupiter, kind of exploring the whole thing. That's not crazy. That's not the Matrix. Like, he's like, this shouldn't happen. You shouldn't get this big a mass twice in a decade. It takes 10,000 years to accumulate this much stuff. 1 in 500 chances it comes into our space. 1 in 20,000 that it decides to just, by chance, loop by Mars, the sun, Venus, and Jupiter. Just checking out our solar system accidentally. Wow. We can talk all we want, which I do, about the existential threat of AI, of climate change, of an asteroid hitting Earth and going boom, and we all go up in smoke. We never talk about alien technology. They're just out there looking, watching us. Why do I bring this up? Because I'm going to go superhuman here, guys. So, men, women out there, let's be honest. We all like powerful male energy. We like powerful female energy too, but we don't really like pussies. We don't like guys who are wimps. Doesn't make us happy. We want men who are masculine, who are strong. We want big cock energy. And if you don't have big cock energy, well, then you're going to get wiped out by the asteroid, by women, by other men. It's primal. We all talk about dignity and humanity and whatever. Do you ever watch these animal videos? The animals, they don't have whatever. They go after whatever it is. Like, boom. The lions fucking fight to the death, and then the tougher lion takes over. They go after all the prey, like tear them to shreds. It's like dog eat dog. There ain't no compassion in the animal world. There's fake compassion in the human world, but the honest truth is, we don't really want the fake compassion. Go find me the woman who really wants, I'm going to get to this in a minute. Maybe I get to it right now. All right, I just get to it now. You want the person who steps up. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be violent, but you want the person who steps up, right? So I'm going to come back to Emma Watson and J.K. Rowling in a minute because I've got a whole story about this. And I'm going to get to to Hamas and the whole thing, but it all ties in. But Mitt Romney, Mitt Romney, remember him? Remember the senator from Utah? Mitt Romney was like the nice guy. He ran for president. Nobody liked him. He was a Mormon. He was all like both sides. He doesn't like Trump, whatever. It came out, he said this week on a podcast that when Jack Smith did the special counsel on Trump, he called the White House and was like, he said, I called the White House and was like Biden's White House and said, if the Justice Department, if the Department of Justice decides to indict President Trump, I hope President Biden will immediately eliminate that and provide a pardon. Pardon Trump. Well, that didn't happen. Nope, no chance that happened. But they asked him why. He said, I don't want the anger and the hate and the vitriol. That was the first reason. But number two, we just can't begin to prosecute our political opponents. He said that on CNN to Dana Bash this last week. Well, that's what we're doing. Like, there was no chance Biden was going to preemptively pardon Trump. He's like, go get him, go take him down. Let's go behind a woodshed and punch it out. But Mitt Romney was right. I don't just not want the hate and the vitriol. Once we start prosecuting our political opponents, well, we've created an ugly cycle that won't end. Everybody, welcome to the world we live in. That's what we're in now. Trump is going to prosecute all his political opponents. Biden prosecuted some. Trump's prosecuting more. The next Democratic administration will prosecute more. It's like a vicious circle. The problem is Mitt Romney was a pussy. Sorry, Mitt. I like you, but people don't really like the guy who's like, hey, let's all be reasonable and rational. That's me right now. Let's be reasonable and rational. It's like we like the guy who's like, I'm taking you down. I'm the lion against the other lion, and I'm going to win the herd. They're all going to be my girls. Like, oh, that's what we want. Like, we like the one that won't. We like the one, again, the big cock energy. We like the one that will take everybody down. That's Trump. We like it. The world likes it. Everybody likes it. If you're honest about it, think about it. You're out on a date. And let's say women, you're out on a date and some guy comes up to you and harasses you and is obnoxious and makes totally obnoxious comments. And your boyfriend steps in and goes, you know what? You're being inappropriate. He's like, fuck you, dude. Fuck you. Whatever. Da, 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 da. And you're like, you know what? Sorry. And you grab your girlfriend and go, come on, honey, let's leave. Are you happy? Yeah. Yeah, kind of. But instead, he's like, pushes you to the side and's like, just go sit over here, baby. And he's like, dude, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. You can walk away right now, or I'm going to fuck the shit out of you. Your choice. Your girlfriend's giving you the best blowjob ever. Like, sorry, we all know it's true. Like, we like that presence, that power. That's Donald Trump. That is Donald Trump. He is like, basically, I ain't being nice. I mean, he's like, I'll play it the easy way, the hard way. We like it. We love the animal power of it. And nobody out there can tell me I'm wrong. You can. Of course you can. You have free speech. But there is no woman out there that can honestly tell me she likes the boyfriend better when he shuffles her away and is like, dude, you're being inappropriate. Come on, honey, let's leave. Versus he pushes you to the side gently and says, sit over here for a minute, baby. And then tells the guy to go fuck himself or else. We like that. And if the guy's like, dude, whatever, and you hit him and knock him down, I mean, think about it. There's no movie, there's no scenario where you don't see the bad guy being knocked down by the good guy and you like the good guy for taking him out. He like punches him, shoots him, whatever, like puts him down. We like that. We like power. It's in our DNA. It's in our DNA. And everybody out there who's right now going, no, but love, compassion, yes, but no. I'm going to come back to We Love the DNA with a story about my dad at the end of our episode. So I'm going to ask you to just take a little sidetrack with me, and I'm going to back up just a little bit. J.K. Rowling. I know I'm just going a totally opposite direction. J.K. Rowling's finally came out and just pounced on Emma Watson. So Emma Watson played Hermione in Harry Potter. And Emma Watson and all of them, they were all Daniel Radcliffe. They were all like, with the trans thing, they were all like, we like J.K. Rowling, but she's wrong about the trans thing. First of all, why? I mean, this is how completely polarized our brains are. Why would the trans issue make you all so determined to throw the woman who made you all famous and rich and gave you lives under the bus when all she said was, hey, I'm fighting for women's rights here? Why wouldn't you at least go, J.K. Rowling's may have a point. We're not exactly on her page, but we love her. Instead, they were like, she's wrong. Trans people have rights, and J.K. Rowling's wrong. J.K. Rowling was simply saying, I am fighting for women's rights. I fought for women's rights my whole life. I am fighting for their identities. I don't hate trans people, but there is no way it's okay to take over women's spaces, to remove women from the equation, to diminish women. Why would the very people she brought up from childhood to adulthood and made famous, rich, and powerful, trash her for that? But Emma Watson did. Daniel Radcliffe did. And J.K. Rowling kind of kept her mouth shut about it until like 2 days ago. And wow, I love this. This is like, she came out and she said, oops. Look, my camera just went crazy on me. Oh, wow. Hold on. The bobblehead. She posted a 600-word post about Emma Watson, and she said, wow, she went full on. She went full on bitch. Like, I love that. Thank you, J.K. Rowling. She said, like other people who've never experienced adult life, uncushioned by wealth and fame, Emma has so little experience of real life. She's ignorant of how ignorant she is. That may be one of the best lines ever. Ignorant of how ignorant she is. Like, you're so ignorant, you don't even know how ignorant you are. Adults can't expect to cozy up to an activist movement that regularly calls for a friend's, meaning J.K. Rowling, assassination, then assert their right to that former friend's love, as though their friend was in fact their mother. Because what happened was Emma Watson said something about, I care about J.K. Rowling, and J.K. Rowling's like, you know what? You basically let me be under the bus. People trying to kill me, take me out, assassinate me, death threats to me, my family. Now you suddenly are like, oh, but I love you. It's like, no, you don't get that. So apparently Emma Watson, in the middle of the whole thing that was going on, remember Emma Watson said the thing about I'm with all witches. And then she privately put a note that she asked a friend to deliver to J.K. Rowling saying, I'm so sorry for what you're going through. I love J.K. Rowling right now because, I'm all about the phone call. She's like, sorry, she has my phone number. She could have called me. She didn't need an intermediary to send me a message. I'm sorry for what you're going through. While you're basically being like, I support you guys and not her. Like, she had my phone number. Pick up the phone and call me. And I'm going to just read this. This is J.K. Rowling. The greatest irony here is that had Emma not decided in her most recent interview to declare that she loves and treasures me, a change of tack I suspect she's adopted because she's noticed full throttle condemnation of me is no longer quite as fashionable as it was. Meaning, oh, suddenly it's not so cool to just be anti J.K. Rowling and maybe the trans thing has gotten a little out of hand. Suddenly she's changed her view. And she said, had that not happened, I might not have been this honest. And she says, Emma is rightly free to disagree with me and indeed to discuss, so British, and indeed to discuss her feelings about me in public. But I have the same right, and I finally decided to exercise it. And then she went on basically to say this. She's like, I wasn't a multimillionaire at 14. I lived in poverty with a child, trying to feed her and survive, while I wrote the book that made Emma famous. Therefore, she said, I understand from my experience what the trashing of women and women's rights, in which Emma has so enthusiastically participated, means to women and girls without her privileges. She'll never need a homeless shelter, J.K. Rowling said. She's never going to be placed in a mixed sex public hospital. She made a comment about be astounded if she's ever in a changing room in High Street. I don't even know what High Street is. Her, quote, public bathroom is single occupancy and comes with a security man standing guard outside the door. Basically, she's saying, Emma, you grew up privileged, wealthy, entitled, and rich because of me. I got you that because I lived in poverty, struggled, and fought for women. And when I simply said, hey, I don't hate transgender people, but I ain't taking down women's rights here, and I'm protecting women and their safe spaces, you trashed me. So sorry, I'm not your friend anymore. I'm not your mother. Basically, fuck you. Good for J.K. Rowling. She finally came out and said it. And to put a cap on it, Emma Watson got charged with speeding the third time, like going 10 miles over the speed limit, and got a fine of whatever, $500, whatever it was. There was a hearing for her. She didn't attend. Her lawyer did. Let's start with that. She didn't go to the hearing. She paid her lawyer to go. You know what? Most people can't pay a lawyer to go. They have to show up. But the lawyer showed up. And he said that Watson fully understands her position and will accept her punishment. Woo-hoo-hoo! She'll accept a fine of $1,000. And then asked that they give her credit for pleading guilty. And said, this is the lawyer. Again, so English. She is a lady in a position to pay an appropriate fine. God, are we living 100 years ago? Emma Watson went on a podcast and said she wasn't good at basic life skills. Because she grew up on sets making movies, she didn't learn how to drive because she couldn't drive herself to sets. And it was on with Jay Shetty, who I used to know. I mean, I still know him technically, but she said she went from driving, and guys, I'm going to actually ask you to take 1 second with me because once again, I'm having a little tech issue here, and I'm just going to, right in the middle, I'm going to have to do this. Hold on, bear with me. Bear with me, everybody. Bear with me while the camera moves and I move. We'll be fine in 1 second before the whole thing goes south and the asteroid hits us and the comet kills us. Okay, give me a second. Wow. I'm making a mess of this whole thing here. Here we go. All right, I'm back. Whoop, the bobblehead's done. She said, my shame is everywhere. Her shame for being given a traffic ticket, getting her license revoked. And she said it's been humbling because she does all these complex things on sets, but she doesn't seem to keep herself at 30 miles an hour. How about you just go? You're like a speed freak. You like to you like to go fast. Like, it's so pathetic. Making moving the camera, making excuses. It's kind of J.K. Rowling's right. She's like, I built you up. I made you what you are. I literally crafted you, fought for you, gave it to you, and you still threw me under the bus. Sorry, too late. This is where Charlie Kirk starts making sense. I know I'm going from one to the other, but about what relationships are, what love is, what commitment is. Like, you don't get to just, honestly, I'm being honest. Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk, they figured something out. Like, this is where it comes down to it. It's like, hey, and by the way, if you think Charlie Kirk was a misogynist, you should watch the video of him where I think he's in on it, but they do a video where he comes into the office and nobody's there except one dude answering the phones. And he goes in a room and it's all these women and they've got the music playing like girls just want to be girls. And he turns the music off. He's like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, oh, we're doing the all women youth conference thing. Thank you, Charlie. We don't need you anymore. And he looks at me, he's like, is there anything I can do to help? They're like, well, we could use some coffee. And he walks out of the room like, sorry, that's not a misogynist. Like, I know it was all planned out, but it was like their women's thing. But that's not a misogynist who does a skit where he comes in and they're like, thanks, buddy. Fuck you. We don't need you, but you could get us some coffee. Like, be the secretary. So let's go back to we like power. We like men with power. We like women with power. Women's power is different than men's power. Women's power is built partly in their sexuality and their intelligence and their grace and emotion. Honestly, men's power is just basically built in our force. It sucks. We're not respected for being humble, being kind. People give us platitudes for that, but that's not where our power is. Our power is in force. Women, no. Women's power is in their grace, their beauty, their sexuality, their compassion, their empathy. That's why everybody knows women are the superior half of our species. Like, dude, guys out there, sorry. We are not the stronger half of this equation. We're respected for power. We can make the money. We can have the brute force. We can do whatever. That's where our respect comes from, not in anything else. Sure, women will be like, oh, I love you. You're so gentle and kind, nice. But meanwhile, I really like this guy because he's got a big cock. Like, that's the reality of how it works. Like, women, complex, beautiful. Trump understands that. Trump is big force, big cock energy. So was Charlie Kirk, although he would never say that word, but he was. Fearless. Compassionate? Yes. Open to dialogue? Yes. But unwavering and strong. And if you listen to his widow, Erica Kirk, she said the same. And by the way, those who want to think he was a misogynist, well, look at his wife. Man, she's a powerhouse. She was happy to stay home, raise the kids, do whatever. He died. She's like, I'm on a mission. I run this organization now. It's balls to the wall, guys. We're going for it. We're doing Charlie's vision. Don't anybody get in my way. She's going to be 10 times the leader he was. But he knew that. He knew she had that power. So I want to take this to Israel and Hamas. They're close to a deal, Trump and his peace deal. And Trump, in classic Trump way, gets everybody on board. Says we're close. Again, Hamas has to release all the hostages, alive and dead, in 72 hours after Israel accepts the agreement, which they have. So the clock is ticking. It's pretty close to the tick down now. I said this on Monday. And Netanyahu was like, hey, if Hamas rejects your plan, then we're going to finish the job by ourselves. And Trump's like, this is the new favorite line. It can be done the easy way or the hard way. And Trump's like, you do what you got to do if they don't accept it. It's all brute force. It's all brute force. There's Monday, they called it a board of peace, which Trump chairs. Trump chairs the board of peace. But he's like, it wasn't my decision to do it. I'm a busy guy, but they asked me to. I think that's probably true. Like, I think Israel and the Arabs were like, hey, dude, you run the board of peace. Like, I don't think Trump was like, put me in charge. I think he's like, okay. That's the power. That's the power of that brute energy. I don't know if the peace thing happens. Hamas is going to fight it because they might be willing to fight to the last person. And Netanyahu has far-right allies in his own government who might topple the whole government for doing this because they're all out. But think about this. Almost 70,000 Palestinians have died. That is tragic. Those are not soldiers and Hamas. Some of them are. That is civilians. Almost 70,000. Close to 20,000 kids. Pull up a video of Gaza. It literally looks like a demolition site. I've said it before. It's leveled. It's dust. Let's go back to Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney was like, hey, don't, pardon Trump. Mitt Romney had that attitude when he ran for president. People were like, don't like you. We don't like the nice guy. We don't like the nice guy. Trump is not the nice guy. Trump is the bad guy. Now, here's my caveat. There is a caveat. You can be the nice guy if you remain firm and strong. That's the caveat. If you're a pussy and just cave and whatever, no. So I'm telling you a quick story. Years ago, I was in a bar in LA, and there was a skinhead, but he was, he's an Asian guy. And he was talking about being a skinhead, and this young kid, barely bar age, mouthed off to his friend, skinheads are racist, assholes racists. And this guy gets right in this kid's face. And the kid, the skinhead guy's mid-20s. The kid is literally barely can get in a bar. And he was a Jew. He was a Jewish kid. The skinhead rips off his shirt. He is ripped and he's like, I'm going to fuck you up. And the kid's like, was being like, no, skinheads are bad. They're racist. So just sidebar for those of you who don't know. Skinheads are not all white nationalist racists. In fact, the entire skinhead movement began in the 60s in Britain, and it was working class people. And it was based on Jamaican immigrant music. It was like, it was reggae, all that stuff. It was diverse. It wasn't a bunch of white people. It was a bunch of working class people. They were celebrating working class identity and style. And it was not about being white and anti-black and Jew or whatever. That's not where it came from. Over time, it shifted to the far right in the 70s, early 80s. So there's always been a group of skinheads that were not racist. They were actually minority based. So I didn't know this, but there were two big groups: Sharp, skinheads against racial prejudice, and Rash, red and anarchist skinheads, who were mostly made up of minorities, hated white supremacy, and didn't like the racist skinhead stereotype. But they were, and Latino and black skinhead crews, especially in the US. So I'm in LA, and this is that. So this Asian dude is a skinhead, but he ain't a racist. He's an anti-racist. He is part of a potentially violent group, but he's not a racist. So the Jewish kid calling him a racist gets him all angry, and he wants to beat the fuck out of the kid. Totally destroy him. And he literally could take the kid out in like 2 seconds. I see what's going on. I'm like, this kid thinks you're a Nazi. You're not a Nazi, but this kid has no idea that skinheads really aren't all Nazis. You're the anti-Nazi. So I get in front and I'm like, leave him alone. He doesn't understand who you are. Walk away. The Asian skinhead looks at me and is like, get out of my way. This isn't your fight. I will go through you if I have to, but I don't want to. But if you stay in my way, I will go through you. Now, let's be clear. I look pretty good for 62. This is almost 20 years ago. I looked even better. But I wouldn't have stood a chance against him. First of all, I don't know how to fight. I'd be done. But secondly, like, he would have just toppled me in a second. I just stood there. I was like, nope. Nope. You don't need to hurt him. You don't want to hurt him. He doesn't understand who you are. Walk away. He looks back at me and he is like, dude, don't make me go through you. Get out of my way. Not your fight, not your problem. Don't get yourself hurt. Never took my eyes off him. Never backed down. Said, nope, not moving. Now, to his credit, he came up with a clever idea. He goes, all right, tell you what. I will back down if that kid leaves the bar this second. Me being Mr. Libra fairness, I'm like, no, he doesn't have to leave the bar. At which point I hear everybody watches. Everybody always watches. Nobody intervenes. All the 25 people around us start laughing. And I look, that kid had literally run out the back exit of the bar. He was gone. He was just gone. At which point the skinhead just laughed at me because I'm like, no, he doesn't have to leave. The kid's already gone. 20 minutes later, I'm at the bar getting a beer. He walks up. He's getting a beer. He goes, let me buy his beer. And he says, thank you for doing that. You saved that kid from me hurting him. And I'm kind of like impressed because he knew he would have fucked me up if it came down to it. And we toasted and went on our way. You don't have to be a pussy and back down to be strong. You don't have to be an asshole to be strong, but you do have to stand your ground. You do have to own your space. You can do it. We can all do it with confidence and clarity. Trump does it with a lot of arrogance, but to his credit, there's a certain amount of grace in it. Clumsy grace, let's call it. J.K. Rowling is doing it with amazing grace and now a little bit of burn on top of it. Emma Watson, Daniel Radcliffe, pathetic. It's our choice whether we want to be weak or strong. And I'm being really clear. Masculine, feminine, very clear, different forces. We each have our own versions of strength. For the men out there, your strength doesn't have to be in being able to beat somebody up, but it does have to be in willing to stand your ground. That was Charlie Kirk. It got him killed, but he stood his ground. On the other side, Erica Kirk, his widow, had a different kind of force, a different kind of power. And now she's owning that ground. Own the truth, everybody. Own the space of power. It doesn't require violence. We can be nonviolent. And violence can be words, actions, emotions. It doesn't have to literally be shooting people. We can act nonviolently, but we can't act with fear. And you have to act with power. I will see you all on Friday, and we will pick this conversation up. Thanks for watching. I'm Rob Nelson.
Meet Rob Nelson, talk show host.
Because you got the 70s thing going there. I got someone's underwear.
Robert Kennedy, thanks for taking a minute. Simple question.
Tucker?
It's good to see you. Listen,
If you're a Bitcoin maximalist, you're Bitcoin forever.
I hate this central bank digital currency.
Hey, I don't